The message during worship was focused on providing for particularly urgent needs of impoverished people in our community. But what of longer term education and what I'd like to call, for lack of a better word, life tools? Let me tell you a story. I met Terry while a pastor in another community. She was around 20 years old and had two young boys. One was 3 and one was a little under a year. I later found out that she had given up a child that was now 2 years old, and she was pregnant again. That means 4 children in less than 5 years. She had no job, she had little support from family, she had no furniture. When I asked her what she most needed, she said, diapers and toilet paper. She reluctantly admitted that she hadn't had any for a while. She also asked if I could get her and the kids some food. And she said that her children would only eat Dairy Queen hot dogs and French fries. I couldn't do it. So instead I bought her some steamable vegetables and ready-made microwavable casserole. It wasn't even as nutritional as I would have liked, but it was better than Dairy Queen and super easy, I thought. I don't know that any of the food got eaten. When I dropped off the food, and by the way, I offered some instructions with it, she looked at me as though I were from another planet. She turned up her nose and she said that her kids wouldn't eat anything like that, looking at the vegetables. And besides, she said, she wouldn't know what to do with it. I went home feeling angry. I was angry that this young mother wasn't feeding her children nutritious food. I was angry that she was making such poor financial decisions when she already had so little. I was angry and I was resentful that tax dollars were subsidizing this ongoing lifestyle. I was angry and I was frustrated and I didn't know what to do. As so often happens, my wife helped me switch to a wider angle lens. She pointed out that Terry had skills. She was skilled at persistently asking for money, shelter, and food for her children. She was skilled at living day to day and protecting what she had. I'm quite sure that on the street, she was not someone I wanted to cross. And she was stuck in a cycle of poverty, which she had learned from her mother, where she had learned how to manipulate people emotionally to get what she needed. I don't really mean this in a dismissive way. It's a skill to be persuasive. These skills that were so necessary on the street, so necessary when living in a cycle of poverty, skills that helped her survive day to day, were not the skills that were conducive to building long-term relationships, learning how to cook or take care of her children, creating a sustainable home for her family. She had never been taught to take a task and go all the way to completion. She failed at basic hygiene for her and her children, and she fell repeatedly into abusive relationships and bad living situations because she had not been taught that she could survive without a controlling man in her life. She was living in a continuing cycle of poverty. And she needed to transition to a more secure and healthy lifestyle. But she didn't have the tools. She had tools for being on the street, living in a tough neighborhood. She had tools that would help her to hold her own when she was in trouble. But she didn't have the tools that would help her out of this abject poverty. I've thought about this long and hard since. I believe there's an answer. I think we must start by handing something to people. People can't get educated and out of poverty if they don't have a certain level of basic security. And by the way, we're providing some of these urgent and immediate needs to our community. Our weekly offering for infant nutrition and serving meals at Safe Harbor and mission trips are great examples of this important work. But giving out the basics like food and water and clothing and shelter is only the beginning. We can't stop there. It's like Band-Aids. Band-Aids are important. They stop the bleeding. They keep infection out. But doesn't a parent also try and teach their children to be more careful, to not run, to not fall and get hurt? Like that kind of parent, we are engaged in providing larger life tools. We've been supporting Babyfold's Healthy Start program, which provides education and hands-on learning to first-time parents and to pregnant teenagers. But I believe there's even more to be done. Our schools need volunteers that will spend time and give individualized attention to children. It's easy to apply. And this can put children in our community on a trajectory for success, even if they're struggling back at home. There's a program called CASA, which constantly needs volunteers. This program provides training and organizes volunteer caseworkers to advocate for children as they move through the family court system. And foster families are in short supply in our state. It's a huge commitment. But many of us have loving families and warm homes, which can be rewarding to share. And the Healthy Start program will have a long waiting list of families over the next year who want or need the help. Our ongoing support can make a huge difference. It may seem like a small donation here or there, but these small donations turn into real-life success stories and keep children out of the foster system and out of courts. Over this week, I hope that we will continue to consider how we as a church can be involved with issues of poverty, making a difference in real lives, and not just doing so on a temporary basis, but looking long-term at the needs of our community.